say in this piece around the Arts District, at the beginning of the year, I had the opportunity to begin talking, beginning of 15, in conversation with Marvin X, who at that same time was queuing up the celebration. I think it was the 50th, Marvin?
Yes.
50th anniversary of the Black Arts Movement. And he also had a desire around 14th Street as the Black Arts Movement District as a way of commemorating that specific arts movement. And I was like, well, Marvin, maybe there's a way that we can collapse these things, because I've been out there talking about this arts district on 14th Street, and so maybe we can do both of those things. And so those are the things that have been percolating, and at this point I'm now creating the bandwidth in my legislative calendar that these pieces of legislation are very important, and in addition to the other work that we're doing. But it's real important that we hear from you all in the creative and artistic and entertainment community. So we'll see the objectives. We're going to talk mostly about the Arts Commission today. We want to get some input from you in terms of what this Black Business and Arts District is. We do not have time today to really go into the protection of the cultural arts piece. So there's a survey on the back of your agendas. We're asking you to help us queue up for the next meeting. And so your ideas, we're always available by email, and then we'll do a little bit with you all today. Hopefully, as we leave here, we'll have a timeline for when and how we reconvene, who should be in the room, who's not in the room, how do we best work together to make sure that you all are informed in the process. I am very much District 3 focused, you all know that. I bang hard for downtown West Oakland, it's my district, but I know that we also have cultural institutions and artist groups that are in other parts of the city. So it's one of the reasons why Annie Campbell Washington's at the table, Val Guillen, because I know there's this whole piece in the San Antonio. But you all really have to help me see what's east of me, right? This is a big job, it takes a lot. I don't even know as much as I feel like I should know about District 3. So you all are really the people who are the experts in terms of the artistic community. So please don't allow me to miss anybody. I hate to give you city council rules, but we're a big room. Maybe do a 1 to 2 minute introduction of who you are and what you want to see out of this process, so we can make sure every voice is heard in that. So your name, your organization or affiliation, and what it is that you wish to get. And
my name is Theo. I'm from Oakland, and now I need to turn it off. And I'm here primarily because I grew up here. I grew up going to Mosswood Park and seeing free shows, and I like to preserve open areas, public spaces for people to always be able to use those public spaces and not be charged from the city to use the public spaces that we already pay taxes for to maintain and keep up, and for individual promoters to be able to use those spaces without paying $10,000 to take our families and friends to public spaces. So I represent local artists at the Malanga, as well as native residents that just live in Oakland and want to see the government do the right thing.
My name is Alma, I'm Commissioner of the city, and I work with Black art movement. And I want to see the community centers and Black businesses to be, conserved for future, because I don't want, this is a lot of gentrification is going on, and then we have to preserve it. That's why I'm here to support it.
Robert Wilkins, I'm the president of the YMCA of the East Bay. I sit at a lot of tables in the city, politically, youth development, education, and faith. I'm also the pastor of Faith Presbyterian Church. And so when I'm sitting at those tables and these issues come up, I want to make sure that I'm up to the minute in terms of the mindset of the community. Also very concerned about preserving our culture and our identity. And so I'm here mostly to listen and be eyes and ears and voice in the street.
thank you.
My name is Amana Harris. I'm with Attitude and Healing Connection. I serve as the executive director. And I know that the conversation about the Black Arts District has actually been happening for some time, so I'm glad to see this being really brought for a collective to really start discussing it and seeing how it can happen. From way back with Marcel Diallo and his attempt with the Black Arts District, as well as through the recent conversations through the West Oakland Specific Plan, which is something I'd like to talk about. And the 4 opportunity sites in West Oakland around having a Black Arts District at one of those sites. So, thank you.
Thank you,
I'm Eric Arnold. I'm a District 3 voter and Oakland resident. I'm also on the steering committee of the Oakland Creative Neighborhoods Coalition. I am the communications director for the Community Rejuvenation Project that did the mural opposite the Malonka Center. And I'm the founder and editorial director of Oak Culture. And I'm basically here to keep Oakland creative and try to advocate for a cultural equity framework.
My name is Alicia Parker. I'm a planner with the City of Oakland, and I'm working on the specific plan for downtown. And we're also beginning to frame an equity strategy. So that's so this is, I think, would be a great tie-in. And thank you for the invitation and for convening the group.
My name is Erica Wheeler-Dubin. I also work for the Attitudinal Healing Connection as Communications and Program Manager for our in-school and after-school art program. I was born and raised in San Francisco, and there's been a lot of changes over there, drifting over here to Oakland, so I just really respect the Black community, Black culture, and it's important to make sure that there's support in all directions, so I'm here to support all of you. AHC, been in the community for 26 years. They do great work, so happy to be here to support.
I'm Veronica Fleming. I'm the owner of Imagine Affairs down on 14th Street. We opened our business about 3 years ago. And I've noticed at the time we moved in, it was very much a family, community, business environment. And I've noticed over the past 3 years, it's changing quite a bit. We had Joyce, who threw us in, taught us everything, Jeffrey. Everyone was very close and bonded. And I'm seeing now other businesses coming in and changing the dynamics, and it feels different. And I'm getting a little worried that it's not going to be a comfortable place for Black businesses to continue. So that's what I mean.
Oh, sorry. Corey Page, I'm actually with her, Imagine Affairs also, and as an artist, Corey the Poet. We have seen shows being put on around here, so we're here to actually listen to and make sure that it continues in a positive way as far as people being able to find a place to perform, do whatever they do, their shows, their parties, or whatever they want to do in a safe area. And that I like the adjective, the I like that. And that people that's not from Oakland, that's coming in and traveling into Oakland, know that there is a place that the Black arts are represented and is represented in a positive and fun way. And we're here to listen to and see what ideas we can come up with and make that happen.
Hi, everybody. My name is Aris Marie Ella Jordan, and I represent a few organizations. I'm a poet and a writer. I'm representing the Black Arts Movement delegation and Feeding the Artists Within, and the community of young people that's not here right now because of whatever obligations. So what I am interested in is really protecting cultural institutions because they have been created, and my mentor talks about passing the baton. So I'm here to catch the baton and learn how do we protect these institutions so that what happened, the institutions created out of the 1960s, the Black studies, how do we keep and protect the integrity and autonomy of these institutions? So that's what I'm here for, is to learn what we're going to do and how we're going to do it and share it with the next generation. So when some of our elders are not here, that I can step up and also empower young people to step up to protect the institutions that we're going to build now that have been built, how to protect. Thank you.
How do you spell your first name?
Aris, A-R-I-E-S.
Very good to meet you. Thank you.
My name is Janina Roberts. I'm with J. Podge Design Studio. I have a gallery that's located off of Telegraph, 3824 Telegraph Ave. I work with a lot of local artists and kids as well. We teach fine arts in a few schools in Oakland, Unified School District. And my biggest concern is or not biggest, but one of the lead is, like, my space is a coveted space. So the owner that owns that building owns a few buildings on my block. He has a lot of people, gentrifiers, that are calling, asking about my space. And so he sort of makes, I'm not gonna say my life a living hell, but he constantly is on me. So I don't feel any support. He's on me because I know he could probably get triple net now. Whereas when I first signed the lease, there was no other people on the block. So I'm a retail establishment and here for the community as well. So now I'm just getting phone calls from him, you know, where he can get $3,500 for the space or however much for the space. So I feel pressure, you know, to perform, and, you know, and I've diversified myself as far as staging and design and then working with the artists. So it's just really getting the support and giving the support back to Black women in business and Black people in business. So that's why I support art and Black business. Janina.
Janina,
Yes.
probably it's spelled wrong.
Janina.
Oh, I got it. J-A-N-A. Janina. A quick question. Are you on a long-term lease or a short-term?
Well, I was in a long-term lease, and I guess maybe that was 3 years ago, but I've been there since 2009. And so now he's not renewing the lease, but I haven't been on him about it. And so I'm directly across the street from the BART station, right at that opening where you can see the building going up and such. So it's a coveted space.
So I'm just curious, are you month to month? Is
I'm
that what
month
that
to
means?
month, yeah. And I've got a pretty good relationship with him, but I can feel because he's actually told me, I'm getting phone calls about your space.
Yeah, this is coming up on the 25th Street gallery spaces too. So I just wanted to you're informing me, so thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. Stand up. Feels good for me to stand up.
Yeah.
My name is Altanir Cook, and I am a lifelong resident of Oakland. And I don't know why I was asked, but from what I've heard so far, I think what I would like to see is, number one, I think we need to have an understanding that if we're talking about Black people and African Americans, there was a substantial community before World War II, even before World War I, and there were artists. And one comes to mind is Joseph, the photographer. If anybody is under the age of 60, they've probably had their picture taken by Mr. Joseph. And the Lasarda Mays, who is really responsible for our African American library, because they started. And they started gathering art and photographs, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's one thing I would like to see. I would like to see, I hear you talk about you have a space. We need to encourage those of you who are artists to either form some type of cooperative where you own that space and you don't have to go through this, just like they do down at the Crucible. Then, you know,
Yes, my name is Khalid Wajid. Mostly, my interest is multimedia. I think one of the things that we really need to have is a positive multimedia image of Oakland. I'm really concerned about the image of Oakland. They usually focus on the negativity, the crime, but we need to, just like this meeting, it should be filmed. It should be news people in here filming this.
That's right.
So
That's right.
I do my little part. You know, I have about 60 videos on YouTube. I've been filming events in Oakland, positive events like the Muslims and Christians marching against the violence in Oakland. That's one of my videos on YouTube. Number of events. We had the peace event in West Oakland. So that's my little part that I'm doing. And I work with Marvin X a lot. You know, I filmed his a lot of events that he had. The last event we had, he had well, they had at the Malcolm X celebration. So I think we really need to work on getting more multimedia people to focus on all the positive things that's happening in Oakland, where we can change the image, and I think it'll help us a lot. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
No, I've been waiting.
There you go.
Okay, my name is Michael Morse. That's my state name. Minhu Mayele is my cultural name. I've been in Oakland 34 years. I grew up in East Oakland. I've lived in North and West. Currently, I'm having housing challenges, if you haven't heard. I've written a couple of books called Ujamaa Village. I have 2 degrees, 2 masters. I'm a carpenter, I'm a gardener, I'm a dad. I have 3 beautiful children that I love deeply. I've been working on this project for 6 years, trying to get black people in Oakland to understand that if we're gonna stay here, we need a plan. I have a plan. Hello? I got one. And I'm working with this man right here because he has a plan. I don't have the ego to say it needs to be called Ujamaa Village. Let's do something. That's all I'm saying, okay? And I need a job. And if it's anything that I would work for, it's for these people in this room right here. So check it out, and you know, go to my Facebook, Ujamaa Villages at Facebook.
Hello everyone, my name is Gloria Santos. I am a visiting artist, an educator, and currently a postdoctoral fellow at Marvin X Academy of the Corner. And I'm a newcomer to Oakland, a temporal resident, but I'm here because I believe that Oakland's narrative of social struggle for justice and all of this black history and culture should be immediately available to non-gentrifying visitors.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And it shouldn't be atypical to find a storyteller on the street to tell you the story. There should be guide. Like the moment you step in the Oakland airport, there should be this blackness surrounding you. And it should be obvious that you are in Oakland and what Oakland means from the moment you arrive at the airport.
Right.
And that's what I'm here.
My name is Marvin X. I grew up on 7th and Campbell, along with this Negro here. Seemed like we was in Cub Scouts together, I think, somewhere down there. But anyway, as a participant in the Black Arts movement nationwide, I've been concerned about what's happening to our culture and economic district nationwide. So I go all over the country, Harlem, Chicago, South, everywhere, DC, Philly. And one thing about it, when you mention Oakland, people's eyes light up. Because they know this, I call it a city of resistance.
Yes.
Of resistance to oppression. And we have a great tradition, and we should become a model. This Black Arts District should be a model for all these other cities. Some that are being gentrified. Well, things can be reversed. But we got to get it organized. Get it organized and do it right. Do it right, the right way. There's a right way and a wrong way. And we have enough minds, creative minds, artistic minds, business minds, to make this happen. And if we do a Black Arts District along 14th Street, like I told Paul, isn't it a coincidence? All these historic sites are already here. They're already here, from the Malanga to the museum to the Jeffries to Oscar Grant, the Ogawa Plaza, the Caribe, the Jordan, all of this. We're not starting on zero.
Right.
We're off of zero.
Right.
So we can move from here. And it's enough for everybody, and it's bigger than anybody. It's enough for everybody, and it's bigger than anybody.
Right.
Thank you so much for that.
All right.
Yeah, my name is Paul Cobb. I'm a paper boy. And, I am concerned about the arts, and since my building was just sold for $23 million, I'm going to be evicted pretty soon.
No,
And I am going to be relocating.
no.
But in the meantime, I will be organizing with each and every one of you. I'm happy to hear, especially Anika and Marvin, who've spoken out so well about the need for not only a commission, but to do something about fighting for economic justice and equity in the arts. I would like to see something specific. I think that the city ought to use its eminent domain powers to take over the Rotunda building, since it's basically city property, and relocate a lot of black artists and black businesses that are downtown into that facility. Also, with the Fox Theater building, if you go back and check the history, in 1977, I led the movement to prevent it from being torn down with the Wreckers Ball when Jerry Brown was governor. So I think that we have what's called option level equity in the Fox building. It ought to be declared, at least 28% of the space ought to be declared black space. Also, just like I led the move to rename Cypress, Mandela Boulevard, and 20th Street Thomas L. Berkeley Way, I think we need to rename certain facilities and reclaim. The city needs to take advantage of the Chase Bank money that we should have gotten. We need to put pressure on Lynette and the rest of the city council people to have the city to have a community black arts and black business and black benefits package to the tune of $50 million that could help provide the seed capital for a black arts trust fund.
That's right.
To finance a lot of this activity. We have underwritten a lot of these near-to-well white boys who had brought no equity to the table, like Tagami and others. And so we need to do the same thing to bolster, and we should organize to make sure that Lynette provides the leadership and the mayor and the other council people to do that. We're going to have to organize and put pressure ourselves, because when we founded the Afro-American Association in 1961, one of our mottos is ain't nobody gonna give you nothing.
Right.
That you have to open the door and get it or take it or organize to force a reaction, and I hope that we do that. And I'm happy to be a part of the committee, and I'm going to be utilizing the paper to promote each and every one of your businesses and your artistic and cultural representation free of charge to help develop some momentum around that. And so I'm happy to be a part of it.
I know we're very glad to have you.
You say what?
I say we're very glad to have you.
Well, since you're from the University of California, I want to make a point of being a student there in '68 with the Oakland Budget Project. I want to make the statement about University of California ripped off black culture in Oakland. The journalism department got a $2 million grant to do a revitalized streetscape of 7th Street with $2 million, where they actually took the photos and images and media of blacks who had performed there and who lived there and made a production. You can go online and see it. So they have pimped our culture and hustled us, and we should be paid to develop the same way that the city is put $1 million to bring this white firm from Miami to do the downtown plan.
Right.
They should provide a couple $1 million for a black arts group like
That's right.
at the table to
That's right.
provide the same thing. And so, and I think we should have as what's the name, what says that politics is the art of the possible. We need some politicians who understand what is possible and will fight for us and not explain why we can't have what we deserve.
That's good.
Yes, sir.
Wow. My name is Joyce Gordon, and I have been on 14th Street for 13 years as an art gallery. I had hair salons in other areas of Oakland, at 5th and Jefferson, and on Grand Avenue. I am here because I want to understand and have it clear in my mind what the Black Art District means. Is that just a plaque on Broadway and 14th Street, or will there be provisions or monies for space from the freeway to the lake and beyond for black businesses, for more black business? Being on 14th Street for 13 years, there's a lot of need for more centers for black artists, visual art, performing arts, mid-career emerging artists, established artists. There's just not enough space for that. I think what my sister said over there about the artists, a lot of the artists coming together and forming collectives and buying a space or getting a space with the city or somebody making it possible, or the money's there where that could be possible. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. So that's why I'm here. I mean, if this is something that's really going to happen, like when you get off the freeway and you come down 14th Street all the way to the lake, and there's all these black businesses going on. That's an art district to me.
Right.
Yes,
It's
sir.
like when you go down, it's like when you go down Franklin Street from 11th Street to the lake. You know you're in Chinatown.
Right.
When you go down International Boulevard to from International Boulevard to 11th Avenue to 23rd, 24th, that's Koreatown, and you know you're there. And then when you pass there, you're in Fruitvale District, and there are a lot of Latino businesses there. And then when you go back the other side from downtown, there's Korean District sandwiched in there. And then when you go uptown, that's all of the white galleries. So what kind of irritates me is that all you hear about is the diversity in Oakland.
Oh.
So maybe there is a new definition for diversity, because on First Fridays, when everybody's out, everybody's coming from everywhere, they go uptown. I'm downtown, but they go uptown. When you read about the art movement in Oakland, it's all uptown. It's like white people arrived and then there was art. It's like before there was a uptown, there was no art. That's real irritating when you're a black woman and you've been here for 14 years, working hard, showing and producing a lot of major artists, a lot of mid-career artists, a lot of young artists, and even children art, but all of the focus is uptown. That is not nice. So
Hey everybody, my name is Anika Barber. I am an Oakland native, born and raised here, third generation. And I'm a small business owner, an art and cultural space named Betty Ono, which is right 14th and Broadway, so I would imagine in this cultural district as well. I'm also one of the organizers of the Keep Oakland Creative / Oakland Creative Neighborhoods Coalition. That is really about bringing together not just arts and culture folks, but also residents, faiths, community leaders, business owners, and others who really care about all of the things we're talking about today and protecting our cultural legacy, our identities, and our spaces, including businesses and legacy businesses. And we're also looking at the intersections with other areas that are really important to Black folks and brown folks, like jobs and housing and equity across the city. And we're really wanting to see broader support. Downtown, east, west, everywhere we are, we want to be able to live and thrive in Oakland, and we want to stay here. And we don't want to be displaced even further than we are. So I'm here to learn more about this initiative for Black Arts District, but also really calling for an Oakland Arts Commission to be reestablished with community representation across all the districts as a structure to help make sure that there is equity and there's a real process for us to engage in this conversation and to ask for exactly what we need, whether it be money, protection of space with legislation like ordinances that say businesses and groups in a certain area are protected. There's state-level cultural district designations that just got passed where we might be able to partner as a city with the state to create this district. And there's also opportunities for like tax incentives and other things that support business development. So I'm interested in the intersection of those things and wanting to contribute solutions and ideas.
Hope. I'm not gonna say I don't have hope right now, but I was with my mom in Chicago just after she had knee replacement surgery, and I left there when I got this invitation. Going to a lot of talks out there. It's their first Chicago Biennial, Architectural Biennial, so listening to a lot of people from all over the world discuss really cool ideas. So I have hope that this isn't like another Oakland conversation. Working with Story, and I appreciate your role in making sure that we get through this as quickly as possible. But at the same time, I think if we're saying that this group of people are going to be assembling for a period of months, let's say, it's not their fault that they were asked to introduce themselves. Do you know what I'm saying? The reason that everyone is here, and I don't say this to jump on you either, at all. That's the last thing I'm interested in doing. But the reason that these people are here is because they want to be heard. If these are creative people are engaged in telling stories. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's why everyone's here, because everyone here feels like there's no place for anyone to hear what they have to say, and the people that listen to them. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you ask people to introduce themselves, they're going to take their time doing it because maybe these are finally the people that will listen. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm here in frustration. I'm tired of hearing these stories. It's like mad depressing. Like, it's so beautiful outside. In so many places. With so many people. It was amazing in the hospital because none of the doctors, none of the high-level physicians, guess what? None were Black. None were white. They were everything else that you can imagine. You can spin the wheel and you would get someone else. And we stay having this tired talk about Black, white, boom, 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 and it's all a decoy. So I guess what I'm concerned with, and I am like kind of irritated, we've been in some rooms together, but it's just the same old thing. Like for how many years, like, and you have these catchphrases. I worked in redevelopment, right? I worked for the big guys. I worked for the big guys here. I worked for the big guys somewhere else. You got these catchphrases. So words that I've heard spoken in this building and at the Marriott and in other rooms in the city. Let's say if you go back 10 years ago is, what is it? Model city. City of the future. Those were the tag words, right? It worked. Now, we weren't the ones trying to be, I'm not from Oakland, but that wasn't to sell me. That wasn't to sell this woman here. That was to sell big money. That was to sell China money on this city of the future.
Kev, I see you having to take off, so you want to go ahead and give your intro before you take off?
Yeah, sorry, I have to leave. I'm actually starting this program up the street at OSA. I'm an arts teacher, I'm a musician. Grew up in Oakland, traveled the world, represent Oakland. And I'm just here to, to lend my voice, to lend my ear, to see how I can help spread the word. I'm an artist. I perform to work with almost half of this table in some capacity, so I feel like we got to work with each other, we got to engage with each other, and also the youth. Like, I'm really big on what we can do to incorporate the youth, because I work in 2 different schools, and I'm telling you, we losing.
Yeah,
we losing right now. It's like sad to see the young brothers, the young sisters coming up to me, their stories, their pain, and sometimes music is all they have. Music saved me. I grew up in Brookfield Elementary. I went on to get a master's degree in classical music because a black woman in Westlake Junior High School saw a talent in me and a gift in me. And like, okay, well, you need to go here, you need to do this, and invested in me. So we need to take all of this energy and invest it in our youth, and I'm making sure that we make sure that that's a part of the conversation as well. We've had our time. We paved our path. You know what I'm saying? So now where are they gonna be? The people that's really gonna lead Oakland, like your son. You know what I'm saying? Like, so talented, so incredibly talented, like your son. You know what I'm saying? So many of us have children. So just to make sure and also taking care of the artists. I mean, artists can't live in this city right now. I get the same for a gig today that I got 15 years ago. The standard rate for a musician is about $7,500, no matter how long you play, no matter who's there, no matter how many thousands of people, no matter how much free food. So just making sure we taking care of you. Talking about artists, let's take care of the people that are actually artists. They're going to be able to sustain in this city. They're going to go somewhere else. So that's just my 2 cents. I appreciate and love all of y'all. Appreciate you too.
My name is Charles Johnson. Some people know me as Chuck up in here. I'll talk a little bit about the creative. I come from a background of television. I'm gonna trip some of y'all out. My original, I didn't know. But when I was a young dude, I used to actually have a hip hop video show on Soul Beat. I don't know if any of y'all heard of that, right?
Yeah.
So
#1.
Yeah. So and I want you guys to hold me accountable. I told myself in 2016 I would tell a story in some capacity about Soul Beat. Not only just to, I guess you can say, identify it in history, but also I wanted to spark the new interest to media platform. All right, so that's where I started from. But, as I got older, I started realizing that change comes through policy changing. You know what I'm saying? I actually started learning how to get more political. And I realized about 5 years ago, I was asked to be a part of a subcommittee for forming an entertainment commission. And, it was just a fascinating ride that I went through, because I went through like maybe 30 years of Oakland history, not just from the snapping your fingers and having fun, but just how the policy process works and some of the issues that we had to deal with to, do entertainment as black folks, just keep it real. And so with that being said, I admit the process, I won't get too political, but the process got slowed down for some reasons, but I'm glad to be back at this table to discuss it again. I guess you can say in closing, the biggest thing for me is to utilize the economic engine that the Entertainment Commission could be if we all kind of learn what it is. So number one, I want us to be educated and informed what an Entertainment Commission is. Number two, figure out, I guess you can say, the policy process to implement it. And then number three, bring some new money to Oakland. Because that's what I believe that, I've had my experiences with film producers, promoters who want to do festivals, people I know from New York, hey, I want to do a sitcom in Oakland, what's going on? And they basically have real issues with like the bureaucracy here. And so the last piece I also want to say is, I won't bring them up in here, somebody in here I had a discussion with, and we were just talking about how Oakland used to be this real central hub as like a chocolate city, whether it was just different activities or events coming from our community, you have more diversity in doing those kind of events. I just want to be a part of bringing that back. So one of the pieces that I think we're going to discuss is the Entertainment Commission. So whenever we get a chance, we can dig more into that part.
Chuck, you said understand what it is, and 2 and 3.
Well, it's again, educate and inform the community as to what an Entertainment Commission is, understand the policy process of what it would take to do the Entertainment Commission, and then last but not least, encourage the entertainment business community to come support Oakland. make Oakland more of a, I guess you can say, a visitor destination than it already is. Again, this is something been going on almost 10 years for me. We studied Austin's Entertainment Commission, Austin, Texas. We went to Memphis. I hung out in Memphis and checked out their environment. LA, of course. And, you know, San Francisco is right there across the water as a good template, if you will, of what an entertainment commission could really be.
Okay, my name is Pamela Mays McDonald, but most people call me Pam. Do you want me to stand? You can hear me, right?
You're fine.
Okay, I have a loud voice. I am a commissioner with the Alameda County Arts Commissioner. I'm also the board director of external affairs for the Oakland Art Murmur organization. I am a funkwarian, do or die, with Samba Funk. I'm one of the co-founders of the Soul of Oakland, which is the organization that we established after the drummers were harassed at the lake. I'm also been a grant reviewer for many years with Oakland Cultural Arts and also with the California Arts Council, the National Endowment for the Arts, and other national organizations. For 20 years, I was a museum director, an art museum director in San Francisco. So I ran, closed, and rebuilt the DeYoung Museum, the Legion of Honor Museum, the Asian Art Museum, and the Museum of the African Diaspora. In those years, I worked with all the arts organizations of every size. And I worked with the African American Historical and Cultural Society in San Francisco. I worked with the Lasardames over here when they went to the other library with their boxes of things. And that neighborhood is not called Golden Gate anymore. They've got a new fancy gentrifier name for that neighborhood now. And I want to support Councilmember McElhaney's efforts to do this and to pull this together at the, try and hold us together, try and save us. At the same time, I want to caution everybody about what I saw happen in San Francisco, because I was there. I've been living here 30 years, but I commuted every day. And I watched it, and I saw what they did to Fillmore Street in the interest of creating a jazz district, a jazz heritage district.
Come on.
Yes, I see this.
My husband at the time was the director of real estate for the city of San Francisco, and so I got a lot of inside information. And one of the things that he said years ago about San Francisco is that it was going to be like the San Diego Zoo or a game park, that they would take the tourists around on buses and they would point and say, this was the Chinese community, and what you'd have is a block of Section 8 housing. And then you drive down to the Mission District and you'd say, this is the Latino district, and you'd have Section 8, some little preserved little thing. And this would be the black community, is what they were going to do with Fillmore. We don't want that to happen in Oakland.
That's right.
And I'm deathly afraid that's what's going to happen, and that this proposal may be a last gasp. So I'm prepared to throw whatever energy I have left to give into trying to make sure this happens. And I remember Amos Brown at the time, we first started fighting for the Museum of the African Diaspora. We first started fighting for that. My first meeting that I attended was in 1983. And I'll never forget as the meetings went on. And we didn't open until 2006. Dang. And we ended up with a closet, basically, at the ground floor of a hotel, St. Regis Hotel, which won't even let you walk from the hotel lobby into our museum because they didn't want us coming there. And our closet was right in front of a bus stop. That's not adequate to be a museum. It's a totally inadequate space. And that's what they took because it was all they could grab while there was going to be a Jewish museum and a Mexican museum and a this and a that in the aim of redevelopment. And we had a black mayor during those years. So I want to remind everybody what Amos Brown said in one of the meetings. I'll never forget what Reverend Amos Brown said, pounding his fist, which he can do. He said, all I want to see, I don't care if it's on this street or that street, but I want to make sure that if a Martian lands in San Francisco 200 years from now, that they know that once upon a time there were some black people here. And that's what he said. And that was years ago. So there's people who can see into the future, and unfortunately I'm one of those people, and I'm not feeling good. The downtown specific plan is going to destroy my Oakland Art Murmur galleries. Joyce Gordon's gallery was one of the original Art Murmur galleries. She's the pioneer here in the room as terms of Oakland Art Murmur. She was there. And Anika Barber's gallery is the future. of where we need to go. If we can't protect those two art spaces, and I'm also particularly like you involved and concerned about the Malunga Cascalord Center for the Arts because my son was raised there too. And if we don't have someplace, as Kev Choice talked about, for the youth to go, that they can get on a bus or a BART and get to by themselves, that's a safe space where they can explore their creativity, then we won't have anything. And right now, the buildings that are being set to be built across the street and to the side of the Malunga Cascalord Center in the downtown Pacific Plans development picture are getting ready to threaten that. Already, Malunga Cascalord they nailed the windows shut on the dance studios, which produced an unsafe environment for all the people that were in there dancing. Because the new residents are complaining about the sound of the drums coming out of the dance studios when people are taking dance classes. So we have a problem here. It's a culture war, and I'm feeling it. And I also want to say, as an older woman, one of the signs that I've been getting and why I can't go to San Francisco anymore, where I went to high school, it's the disrespect toward an older black woman.
Thank you.
I don't know about the men. I can't talk about it because I don't feel it. But this total disrespect that we are to be not just interrupted, but not listened to. I mean, I don't even get waited on in San Francisco a lot of times now. And that's not the world I grew up in, and that's not the world I want my children to live. So both of my children are living in other cities. And I'm afraid we may be losing a generation if we don't get this together right now and pull this together and try and hold on so that if Martians come in 500 years to Oakland, they will know that we were here.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Beverly Thomas, and I'm the owner of the barbecue restaurant here on 14th Street. It's called Uncle Willie's and Soul Food. I've been on the block for about over 10 years, and I'm very glad to be here today. And it's because of Bridget coming into our restaurant and giving us an invitation. When I say us, this is my son and that's my nephew, Nicholas. We all work together, and she invited us to come to this meeting. I'm very glad to be here, to hear everybody speak. It's been a lot of concerns of myself. I've always felt since I've been on the block that we've just been alone. No, I've never gotten really an invitation to know what kind of meeting is going on. I didn't know what this agenda exactly was going to be about, but I'm glad to be here, and I'm here because I want to be involved, and I want to see changes, just as you guys have been speaking about, come about, and I'm hoping that I can be a part of that, and I can put in my decisions and my, opinions. So that's all I have to say right now.
Thank you. My name is Craig Jones. That's my mom. I guess for me, when we bring up these other, like Chinatown and Koreatown, the reason why that they're so strong and tight is because they spend the money with themselves. As African Americans, we don't do that. That's why on our block, you don't see too many black businesses. And the ones that are there, we're struggling. So I would like to see how we can take arts and business and build something together to where the money can stay in our community before it goes out. If you don't have economic power, what do you have? You don't have equity. If you don't own something, especially here in Oakland, then what do you have? It's easy for them to gentrify us because we don't own anything. They can go up on your rent, kick you out. So I would like to see how we can come together as arts and business and build a stronger community. Put more businesses on this corridor. I have 2 empty buildings that's been empty since we've been on this block for 10 years. Nothing going on, empty. Wood falling off the side of the building. You have trash all down the streets. When you go uptown, you don't see that. Why do we have to be next to buildings that are dilapidated and empty? So until we can, build up this corridor and become stronger as African Americans economically, we're just gonna get pushed around. So that's all I have to say.
My name is Nicholas Breland. I'm also with Uncle Willie's family here. Like they said, we've been here for over 10 years and we've seen a lot of change. And on a day-to-day basis, for me, I think that it's lost. I think that the African culture is pretty much on its way out. So we can sit here, we can fight as hard as we can, but we don't have the backing, we don't have the money. So I'm not sure what could be done. We can have as many conversations in this room as we can.
My grandma was originally from Watts. I've been in Watts most of my life. Then I moved to Carson. A lot of things that we're talking about, I'm a little sick, so bear with my voice. A lot of things that we're talking about, it's a lot of actions not being put in place. I was in San Francisco when the nightclub stuff was happening. I didn't even know what a Filipino was until I got to San Francisco. They pretty much run everything in there. I worked on the Entertainment Commission in San Francisco for the nightclub industry. I love to see that happen here, you know, because everything right now is governed by the police. And I deal with permits all the time. I got 14 different permits, and I deal with all kind of stuff. From the people, a lot of the people in this room are artists. I'm talking from the perspective of nightclub owners, people who own cabarets, and people who own liquor licenses. If you remember, a lot of people who ever went to the, what was that, the last thing that just happened at Jeffries, the Liquor Association CalPAC, they were talking about 398 people that used to have liquor stores in here in the 1960s. Now it's down to like 20. 27% black people in this population used to be 46. You know, so understanding where we're coming from and then where we're going, a lot of young people are not investing in this stuff. They don't understand investment. They don't understand long-term goals and ranges. Everybody that I know that owns businesses are usually probably in their 40s. And they're not passing it along to their kids because their kids don't want to be involved. So for us to be having this discussion is great, but at the same time, there have to be other people in this room that are really making the policy and decisions. And understanding and knowing those people is very important for all of us to understand. We know each other. We don't know each other as well as we should know each other. But understanding those other people who are really making decisions and buying up all the property. That's the reason why next door to us in the city center is $40 a square foot. Understanding the square footage around here and how much it's going for, and understanding how we can get involved in investment is very important. I know my building owner very well, and everybody has leases here and all that stuff, but I've been looking into buying up downtown and putting the coalition together to be able to buy and be able to stay here.
That's right.
Because it's important that we at least have something going on and that we at least invest back into Oakland. Because, you know, right now, everything that we thought was $1.7 million, our buildings and stuff like that, now it's about $6 million, $5 million. And you have to have an investment group to be able to do that. So we need to start getting together and investing together.
Need to have what?
An investment group.
Need to have what?
Investment group.
A what?
An investment group. Yeah, so I'm just glad to see everybody here and that wants to take action and stuff and not let, you know, we need to make sure that beyond this room we get together and we also get with each other, because it's more than just her putting us together, it's us getting together and really working with each other, because we already have. So glad to see everybody and thank you for listening to me.